Welcome to my first AMA in a good month or so. Actually, I did do a presentation last week for a group, and it went pretty well. I kind of rearranged my equipment here, and so far everything's working pretty good. I did screw up on my emails. George Brooks enlightened me on that. So hopefully obviously the reminders went out today. So getting a little rusty here when you don't do this for a while. But all right. So today we have probably about 10 questions or so. So let's get started here. And the first question is from, there's my AMA. That's just title screen. You don't need to see that. Well, you know what we're doing here. The first question I think is from Fran, once that disappears, and that is it worth it to renew Backblaze? And this is more or less just an opinion, Fran. It depends on what you're saving. If you don't need to see that one either. If you are no longer need to have anything that is critical, then there's absolutely no reason to have Backblaze. But if you have stuff that you think that you might, if you lost it, it would be, detrimental, then I would say keep on going with Backblaze. I mean, it's, as you've heard me say, it's an insurance policy, and that's all it is.
I actually renewed it.
Good. I mean, I'm for, it's not that much money, and for peace of mind, it's probably with your piano lessons and all that, so yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's.
I had a question though about Backblaze. Does it do everything on my, like I haven't gone in and told it to do, my marks or?
It does everything that is on your computer. So if it's, everything's on your computer. Now, there's a little caveat there. If it is in iCloud, it won't do it because iCloud, it's in the cloud on the Mac, on Apple. So unless, this is where the caveat comes, unless that document is downloaded to your Mac. Anything that is on your Mac, it'll back up. So if I go over to my Mac here, there we go. Anything that is on my Mac, it will download. But if we look here, you're going to see that I have these documents that have the little cloud icon. It is not backing those up because those are in the cloud. Those are in iCloud.
Well, aren't my photos in iCloud?
If your photos are in iCloud, it is not backing those up, which is another question that Tom asked, and I'll get in on that, how you can back those up. But they're in iCloud, so it's not like, it's not a separate backup, but anything that is in the cloud is not being backed up. Now, if I want this to be backed up, all I have to do is just click on it. It's going to download them, and now those will be backed up into Backblaze because they're on my computer. They're also in iCloud, but they're on my computer. So it's a little bit tricky. But
so then how would I do, like I've got 19,000 photos that I want to make sure they're there.
Right, okay. Well, let's, I'll come back to that because that's one of the questions. That's something that Tom asked, so we'll come back to that. Yeah.
Dan, isn't the photo library that is on the Mac backed up?
It is, but if you store everything in iCloud, then it only has the low-res versions. So if we go to, well, we'll just go into that. If we go to my photos here, and I open up the settings, I'm using iCloud Photos, and what I have here is I have it set to not download. I have it set to optimize my Mac, which means that the high-res versions of these photos are stored in iCloud, so Apple is storing them. And what I'm looking at here are all the low-res versions. So in my case, on my personal computer, this is my demo computer, but on my personal computer, I have like 50,000 photos and videos, much like what Tom has. And that is taken up like 160 gigabytes of space. It'd fill up my computer. I have a 1 terabyte. That's another reason why I want to trade in this laptop, is it has 1 terabyte drive, and I'm doing more with Final Cut Pro, and I'm just filling that thing up. So I need a larger drive. And so basically, if I take this library here, because it's optimized, so if I go to my pictures here, Johnny, and we go to pictures, this photos library here is only the low-res versions. So I could back this up, but what it's going to do is only back up the low-res version. It's not going to get the high-res versions, because the high-res versions are in the cloud, because Apple is optimizing all that for me.
Oh.
So if you want to download the high-res versions, there's a few different ways that you could do this. So this goes into Tom's question, how can you do this? One way, probably the easiest way, is you would connect up an external drive. Like this is a 256 gigabyte hard drive. I'd fill it up. So if I wanted to back up my photos here, what I would do is I would go to the library and I would select all. So you just go to select all. And then all you have to do, if you don't need to have them in a library or anything like that, all you want to do is just have those photos there. The easiest thing is just to go to export here, and then you can export those photos. Now you have two options here. I can export the 383 photos, or I can export the unmodified. So what's the difference here? Well, if you made any changes to your photos, let's say you cropped them or you added a filter or anything like that, this is what this option is going to export. It's going to export the edited version. You are not going to have the original. Because when you make an edit with the Photos app, it's what they call lossless editing. You can always go back to the original. It does not damage or replace your original photo. So what you can do is you can actually export the unmodified originals, which means it is not going to have any of those edits on there, but you're going to have your original photos, your original videos. So what I would do is I would select this, and then I would select a subfolder format here. So then it kind of puts them into different folders based on, the time, the moment. And all I have to do is just click on export, and now it will export all those. So let's go ahead and do that and just see what it does. So it's going to use the file name. I could go and use, if I title, I'm just going to go with the file album name. Let's go with the album name. Moment, and I go export. And we're going to go to, let's just go to my desktop here. This isn't that many, so hopefully it won't fill up my, my drive here. But now it is exporting. You can see what it's doing up here. Now in Tom's case, or in my case, this is going to take a while, but you can see what it's doing there. And in your case, yeah, probably in most people's cases, yes. But here it is exporting those. And then once it gets done, I'm going to have all those photos and videos, the originals, on my desktop, and then I can put those onto a second hard drive or whatever, anything like that. So that's how you could do that.
So then with my Backblaze, I didn't need it for that then, because my photos are.
Yeah, and the idea, it's good that you're thinking of this. Apple, as far as I know, they've been very reliable. I haven't heard of any instances where people, I'm sure they must have lost somebody's photos at some point. But it is not a good thing to just keep them in one place, absolutely. So this would be a way that you could export them out. Now, if you have a large enough hard drive, you could go into the Photos app. This would be the best way. Go into that Photos app and download the originals to your Mac. That way, all the originals are in iCloud, and they are on your Mac, and then Backblaze will back those up. So that's the best way, but you need to make sure you have a lot of space.
Yeah.
And the
Because they will eat
problem
it.
with this is that you're limited to 1,000 photos.
Oh,
You can't go over 1,000 at one time.
With this exporting like this?
Correct.
Really? I researched this a little bit. Nobody said that. Man.
Yeah.
a
I started
thousand.
doing it for all 50,000 and immediately told me, I tried 3 different times, and immediately said you're limited to 1,000 at a time, so I would have had to do it 51 times.
Oh, wow. I'll have to do it 20 times, 25 times.
Now, the other thing that you could do is, and I read about this, and I'd say be careful of this one. The other thing that you could do is, so here come those photos. You can see they're all in separate folders here. I'm just going to stop it, but you can actually see all those different folders there. But you can only do it 1,000 at a time, so thanks, Tom. So here's another option that you can do. And this one is I'd be a little weary. I haven't tested it in a long time, but I know we did used to do this over at Apple. So you can have multiple photos libraries, but only one of them can be tied to iCloud. So this library here is tied to iCloud. But I can go and create another one. So what I would do is I would go and create let's see here, I have to quit out of here. I'm going to get rid of all these. All right. If I hold down the Option key when I open up the Photos app, this gets a little geeky here. You're going to see that I can create a new library. So I would just create a new library. I'd put it on a second hard drive where we have enough space, for all 40,000, 20,000, 50,000 photos.
John?
And you can see it's blank. Once it's on that second hard drive, what you can do,
Got it. Thank you. Yep, bye-bye.
what you can do is you can make this one the system library, and then it'll pull all of those photos from the cloud and put it into this one here as a backup. So what you'd have to do is go to Photos here, and you're going to see it says System Photo Library. So I would want to have this one be the System Photo Library. So I would open up this one, turn off iCloud, open up the second one. So I'm going to turn this off. Here we can download a copy of your iCloud to this Mac. Let's go ahead and, see now it's going to download all the originals, but you don't have enough space. So you would turn that off and hold down the Option key again. Go to the second one here. Say it's a little tricky. And I should, here we go, use as System Photo Library. Now what it's going to do is it's going to pull all those photos into this one, and being that I have enough space, it'll pull all the high res and put them onto that second hard drive. So I'd say it's a little tricky, so I would go download, and then eventually all those will come onto this computer. Now I'm going to turn that off because I don't want it to do that.
Yeah, Dan, maybe I'm not thinking visually, but if you go back and forth, you're not going from one high to low, whatever, but you go high to high, whatever. Do photographs ever lose integrity or whatever? Do you lose pixels or anything like that?
No, because it's downloading the, no, it doesn't. So
You can't download something over and over again and have
No.
a bigger bit?
nope.
Okay.
Yep, good question, but nope, it doesn't. So now you can see it's pulling those photos from the cloud. And again, think of this would be on my second hard drive, and what I'd be able to do is download these originals, and then I'd be able to have all those on that second hard drive. Now that is done, what you'd want to go back and tell the other one to use as a system library. And so it's a little bit of work, but if you just want to have a backup, that's one way of doing it.
Dan, wouldn't it be easier to just get an external hard drive and just put all those photos onto that hard drive?
Yeah, you could just move your library over there, and absolutely, that'd be the easiest. But the problem with that is when if you're on a laptop and you don't have that second hard drive, you no longer have access to those photos. If you're on a desktop, that's fine, because a hard drive's parked in the back. You never have to worry about it. But if you're on a laptop, you have to have that hard drive with you to view those photos. So, they're getting better and better, and things are getting, but yes, there's still problems, with all of this and backing them up. I was, unfortunately, I did not realize that you can only export 1,000. I thought really that was the end-all solution, just export them out and you're good to go. But apparently that doesn't work that way, so.
And I think I misunderstood, but I thought you said that Backblaze copies everything.
on your computer, and remember, you only have the low-res versions on your computer. So it's only going to copy the low-res versions. Yeah, Tom, did you have?
There's one other way. In desperation, I went into pictures on the hard drive on my computer, and I found the photos library, and I drug that folder of that library to an external hard drive. It was almost 300 gigabytes, but I could double click on it and it would open up my pictures.
Okay. So you could just, drag this.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I drug that to his external hard drive, then it preserved everything.
Oh,
System library,
I
there we go.
guess, no.
I did that in desperation.
Desperation, nice. All right, so yeah, like I say, it's not easy, but there are apps that you can use as well that will do this. So maybe that might be the best way is finding an app that will do that. All right, let's go on to the next question, and this one is from Steve. I saw Steve in here. I know I let him in. I haven't seen Steve in a while. Where'd he go? He was here.
Thank you for letting me
There
in.
he is. Yep, no problem. So Steve asked, which now I lost what Steve asked was, can I have my Wi-Fi disconnect when I leave the house? And I thought that was that's a fun one because you can do that with a shortcut. So basically what he would like to do, and this is like an introduction to shortcuts. We're going to use the iPhone. This will work on the iPhone and the iPad. I don't know if it'll work on the Mac, but not that you would use this on the Mac. Well, you could, I guess. But we're just going to look at this on the iPhone here. So for those of you who aren't familiar with shortcuts, what you can do is you can have your iPhone or your device do different things. So it's like the old Apple script. And it's based on different criteria and things like that. So basically, this one's actually relatively simple. So this is a good one to show how powerful shortcuts is. So everybody has shortcuts on their phone now and on their Mac and on their iPad. It replaced Apple script. And if you're not familiar with Apple script, don't be scared. It's not as geeky. Shortcuts doesn't have to be as geeky as what that was. But basically what we want to do is we want to create an automation. So we have automation down here. We want this to happen automatically. If I wanted to do this manually, then I would just go and create a shortcut and I have to hit a button or anything like that. But Steve is talking about I want to have this happen when I leave my house or when I connect up to my car. Your phone will connect up to your car via Bluetooth. So what we can do is we can have our phone do different things based on that. So I go over to automation and I'm just going to go on and add a new automation. So I tap on the plus. And from here, what do we want it to do? When do we want this automate? Not what do we want it to do? When do we want it to do it? So in this case, I want it to be two different things we could use here. Leave my location, and I can put my current location in there. So that's when I leave the house. It'll run this thing. Or if you have Bluetooth on your car, when you connect up to your car, you could also say Bluetooth when it is connected to my car. So I would just, say to my car. So we're just going to go with leave the house. Just keep it simple here. So I want my Wi-Fi to turn off when I leave the house. So basically I just go leave and location. I'm going to choose my current location. And you're going to see that I can actually set a little parameter here. So we're just going to go right about there. We'll go out. We have a little donut shop right at that corner there. I don't want it to disconnect until I leave the donut shop, right? So we'll just go with that. So now that's when it's going to do it. Now we have to tell it what to do when I leave the house. So I go next, and from here, what I do is I go new blank. I need to add an action, and I just search for Wi-Fi. You can tap on those things, but you can get overwhelmed. So now turn the Wi-Fi off. Tap on done. And that is it. That is all set.
Yeah, I have a question. This might apply to us. So when I go for a walk in my neighborhood, I have my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
It's hooked into the house Wi-Fi, the phone, whatever on that. And if I'm talking to someone, when I get beyond the Wi-Fi, it switches over, but there's like, I could lose a connection or I have to call the person back or whatever. Can I set up, when I step out of my house, it automatically disconnects from the Wi-Fi? It doesn't.
Doesn't turn it off.
It kind of goes like a fringe.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Right. You want it to
Turn off.
well, you'd want it to turn off. So then it just uses the Verizon network or AT&T or something like that. Yeah, that's basically what you have to do here. But then just remember that when you go somewhere where there is Wi-Fi, your Wi-Fi is still turned off. So you might have to set up another one to where you arrive somewhere. Let's see what else we can do here. So when I leave, set Wi-Fi.
Hold on, Dan. If you back up, can you show me where the turn Wi-Fi off is supposed to pop up?
Yeah, it's so when, and then the do is set Wi-Fi, and I have it set to off.
When and do. So there's no additional action you're adding.
No, that's it. I mean, I could set in, this is where you can get a little more complicated. You can set an if, then, and all that. You can go and get more complicated with it. So if I'm leaving the house between, a certain time, possibly, something along that line. Or, you could do it, in Michael's case, if he goes for a workout, and if he uses his workout on his Apple Watch, when he goes for a workout, have it disconnect from the Wi-Fi, but if outside of that, have it not disconnect. So you can set up different things like that with an if-then, and I'm not going to get too much into that, but that's just,
That's where I'm not seeing it, where I chose my location when I leave, and then when I hit next.
Oh, so, okay, so let me,
go ahead.
I'll disconnect that. So you have this, right?
Not
exactly. I'm using iOS 17, but I think
not seeing that.
when I
I'm
leave,
at the very second screen where.
I'll start over. So we'll go
Yeah, please.
plus and leave,
Okay, leave.
location,
Location.
current location, done.
Well, wait a minute. Is there something specific about that map and that circle? Let's see. All right, I've got that screen. My circle is pretty big, wide around the location. I don't know if I need to trim it down more.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm done choosing the location,
Tap on done in the upper right-hand corner.
wow, that's wild. If I move the circle of the circumference of the location, then it doesn't give me the next button. It grays it out. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Hit done. I get the next, and when I come to the next screen, at the very top it says add action.
Yep. So mine says new blank automation, but this is, so add action. So now what I do is I tap on add action. So what do you want it to do? And then here I would search for Wi-Fi, because there's all kinds of different actions that you can have it do. So then you set Wi-Fi, turn off, hit done. There's going to be one other step that I would recommend doing.
Okay.
You're going to see at the very top here. So once you have it all set, there's all my automations. Tap on the automation again. You're going to see run after confirmation. So it's going to ask you, when you leave, do you want to turn off? So every time it's going to ask you when you leave your house. Well, if you don't want it to ask you, you just want it to do it. Then what you do is you tap on this and say, automation. I don't want it to do a confirmation. Let's see, run after confirmation. There is and I think that will do it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Might have to experiment a little bit there, but like I say, I'm using iOS 17, so things are a little bit different. But that's basically all. Set when you want it to do it, and then what you want it to do. That's it.
Why would you want to do it? I'm just curious. Why, I never.
Every time, because I'm just a little bit anal about having Bluetooth or Wi-Fi running at the same time when one of them is not necessary. So when I leave the house, I do use Bluetooth in the car, but I don't want to go into a grocery store and then the Wi-Fi is going, I'm searching for, a Wi-Fi connection. I'm searching for a Wi-Fi connection, et cetera, and that drains battery. So I shut the Wi-Fi off until I get back to where I want to use Wi-Fi.
There's a good example. I'm involved with a bunch of churches. When I go into church or whatever, my phone automatically tries to connect to the church Wi-Fi. But 100 other people are using that Wi-Fi. I really don't want to use the church thing because it slows the slow internet. I want to stay on my cellular. That's the case where I don't want to connect to Wi-Fi.
Right. So you would do, so what Michael's talking about there, this is where you can do the opposite. So go to shortcuts again. And we need a new automation. And instead of when I leave, it would be when I arrive. And then you'd put in the address of the church or whatever you want it to be.
Right.
And then you would say the action, disconnect from Wi-Fi. So, Michael's using it in a different way, but that's basically you set when you want it to do it and then what you want it to do. And that's, the key is to make sure that you set it for automation. If you just use a shortcut, you have to do it manually. So.
The next shortcut you can show me is how to connect to Tom Piper's backup system he just created, and I'll start backing up my iCloud photos to his stuff.
All right. Let's see, what do we have next? Next this is from Floyd, and he says that Safari isn't loading pages fully. It's basically like when he goes to a video. Is Floyd, did I see Floyd here?
I'm here.
Yep. So he's tried, there we go. He's tried a couple of things that I would think of. He's tried it in other browsers, and it works in other browsers, correct? Just not in Safari. So the next thing that I would do, and I've actually had to do this, of course I'm using beta software, so it's natural, but the next thing that I would do is I would go to Safari and delete the history. So you're going to see here clear history. And then from here, what you can do is do the last hour or today and yesterday or whatever, and see if that works. And then that, it could be a cache, something in the cache that is causing a problem. So in a lot of cases, I just go the last hour, clear it, and then all of a sudden everything works again. I've had to do that more often than not lately, just because this is beta software and it's really pretty stable, but just run into little issues. I've also been working on Naples' website. And things get cached in there, and I want to see an immediate change, so I have to go in there and delete that cache. So that's basically how you can do that. And you can do the same thing on the iPad and iPhone. If we go over to my iPad and we go to Safari, we go to settings. Sorry, it works a little different, but basically we go to our settings because Apple likes to have all the settings in here. And if I go to Safari, they still haven't done this alphabetically. Safari. And you're going to see here, somewhere in here, profile, share, clear history, website data. And there you can say last hour, today, yesterday, just like you can on the Mac. And then that will hopefully take care of it. Another trick that I have used for stuff like that is open up a private window and see if it loads. If a page isn't loading, just open up a new private window, incognito in Chrome is what it's called, but on Safari it's just a private window, and see if it loads there. And in a lot of cases that will work as well. If that doesn't work, then there's probably something, it's got to be something with the website, at that point, or the network or something along that line. So if you run into that, Floyd, and it's the same video that you're running into that, send it on to me, and then I can take a look at that and see if, try it on another, that's another trick, is try it on another device, that kind of thing. So,
Dan, I don't know if it applies or not, but at Floyd's case, but we have multiple users in the house, and one time a video went low because everyone was on the freaking Wi-Fi at the same time. So that's what it was. As soon as people, I kicked a couple of people off, the video would load smoother.
yeah. That could be it too. And with today, not that you have the high power stuff, but I have an Eero network here, and I don't know how many devices I have in this house that are Wi-Fi enabled. It's incredible, as time goes on, how many devices are on your network. So that could be it. That could be it too. Yes.
Dan,
Yeah.
Dan, it's not just the video. If I load an MSN.com web, the screen on Safari will flash. It starts to go and then does it go overlays. And I'm thinking it's a security thing.
So what I would do next is,
I mean, it goes through and it works. It's just odd that
it's just odd that it. Do you know if you have any?
starts to load and does it again.
Do you know if you have any extensions on that computer?
Well,
So if I go, so I'm in Safari here, and if we go to our settings, there could be an extension here that is loading. That could be.
I have two extensions there.
So you don't have to delete them, but turn them off and see if it's one of those.
Okay. Well, one of the other things when you load an MSN.com, it comes out, whatever I pick, it comes down and it says, "Do you want to continue reading?" And it gives you that blue little icon down at the bottom of the page. You have to click on it to continue reading.
Yeah, that's the website. So if I go here, and that is
Yes.
that is the website. That's the MSN doing that.
But the thing is, on Safari, it might never load, but if I do it on Chrome, it's instant.
Huh.
Stick with Chrome then.
I don't know. I mean, it seems to be loading
It
fine.
loads, but not 100%.
Right, not 100%.
Not a big deal. It's just curious.
Yeah.
I can live with it because I don't use my computer like the rest of the group.
Like I say, turn off the extensions. Maybe something just to try it. You don't have, see if that's causing a problem. Let me see. Let me take a look at these settings here, just see if I'm missing anything else. Yeah, I don't know what else it would be. Huh.
Just a point of curiosity.
Yeah.
That's all.
And the other.
I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, let me know. And then also try it in a private window. Just try it and see if that, just new private window. See if it works better with that. And then, basically we're trying to narrow it down that would help narrow it down. Just keep me posted on that. So you have another question, and that is, your messages aren't syncing, correct? On all your devices? Does that sound familiar? I was muted.
If I go over the messages on my iMac, I'll have 3 or 4 messages. If I go over on my iPad, I'll have all 12 of the messages that I've seen.
So what you need to do on the Mac, you need to turn on. So I'm going to go to my messages here on the Mac. And if you go to your settings here, or preferences, depending on how old your Mac OS is, under iMessage, it's funny, they still use that iMessage. That was the old name. You want to make sure that Enable Messages in iCloud is turned on. And I'll record this so you could always come back to this later. So when you turn that on, if that is turned off, you'll be able to get messages on here, but it's not going to keep them in sync. That's why you could have 12 in one and 4 on the Mac. On the iPad and the iPhone, they're in sync, but in iCloud, they're not. So what you have to do is you have to turn this on. They will eventually sync, but it does take a little bit, which is why they also have Sync Now, and then it'll go and sync all those. So see if that's it. All right. Next one is from Todd. Is Todd here? He asked about can't delete an email in his junk mail folder. And this is actually from Microsoft. And I Googled it, and there is a little bit of an issue. People are having the same issue, and it says something about an app, and we can't move this to the app because the app isn't installed. Just a weird message that he's getting. And then all of a sudden, as soon as he moves that mail message over to his junk, it goes right back into his inbox. He cannot get rid of it. And other people are having the same problem. So basically, there's two things that so if you watch this later on, because he's not here, basically, I would say try these and then let me know if that doesn't work. The first one is if you go into Mail, you're going to be able to rebuild the mailbox. And they say that this actually works pretty good. So somehow it lost that link. That's why it can't find that email. So it doesn't know to move it in junk. It can't find it, so then it puts it back. So it's like a rogue email or something. So when you rebuild it here, which is just under mailbox, what it'll do is it'll redo all those links and all that. The other option, if that doesn't do it, then, and they say that actually does work. But the other thing I would do is I would go to that mailbox in the cloud and see if you can delete it that way. So if it's Exchange, go to exchange.com or whatever Microsoft's is, and then log in via webmail and see if you can delete it that way. Because the Mail app is just kind of following what's in the cloud. So if you can go and delete it in the cloud, then the Mail app will reflect that as well. But I would first try this, and people seem to have pretty good luck with rebuilding it. So. All right, next one is from Michael. Oh, right, Michael? You want to have your messages go only to a little typo in there, to your iPhone, and not anything else, right?
Right.
So what you'll need to do is basically turn off, oops. So we go to our settings here, and you go to your iCloud settings, which is you tap on your name. If you go to iCloud here, you're going to see Show All. This is where all your settings are. And really all you have to do is just turn off your messages. And then it's no longer going to sync that with all of your other devices. Now, that's the syncing part of it. You're still going to be able to get all of those messages. So what you'll want to do is, if you don't want to receive them on your Mac, then what you want to do is go over to your Mac and turn off, basically you want to remove this, sign out, so then you're not getting any messages to your Mac. That's the syncing part of it. We don't want it to sync, but it's still going to send something, just kind of like what we talked about before. And on the iPad, same kind of thing. What you're going to want to do is go to Messages here, and we should be able to sign out here. Focus, Message. Oh, just turn off iMessage. I believe that will do it. Let's see here. iCloud. Show all. Messages. Sync this iPad. Well, they don't make, you used to be able to sign out. Basically, you want to sign out.
I thought if you scroll down to the bottom, there was sign out.
Was there? And here? Messages?
Yeah.
Nothing there. Manage storage. Okay. Let's go back over. We don't want to sign out of all of iCloud, so go to Messages here. iMessages, send and receive. Apple ID. There we go. Sign out. So it's a little tricky. I'll go back so you can see where this is at. So in Messages, in the settings for Messages on your iPad or your other devices, you will go to your send and receive here. And then down at the bottom, you're going to see the account that's being used. If you tap on that, you can sign out. And then that iPad will no longer receive those messages. So basically, you have to sign out of iMessage, not out of iCloud, but out of iMessage. So,
All right, thank you.
all right.
Glad you're doing better.
Thank you. I am.
Can
Okay.
your cat make another appearance?
I don't even know where that cat is. Usually around here. All right. This one comes from Kevin, and Kevin talked about VPN and how it works on the iPad, right? You wanted to kind of see how that works?
Yes, if you could. I mean,
All right.
I'm just, when I worked before I retired, we automatically had VPN.
Right.
At home here, I have a network. I'm not sure that I even want to use it, but I hear more
Right.
and more that people are using it.
And the nice thing is you can use it. You don't have to use it. So I have a VPN. So I can easily show you how it works. I use ExpressVPN. I hear good things about it. Nord is another one. I would stay away from. Like I don't know if McAfee has one or not, but the VPN market kind of went along the same lines as hosting companies. You have like HostGator and Bluehost and all those for websites, and they were all pretty good, but then one company went out and bought them all up, and now it's just one company that owns the majority of them, and that never goes well. Well, same thing with VPNs. You have a lot of your different.
Well, so it's an app. It's actually an app that you would click on, but it has to
Yep.
work with your. But it has to work with your network.
Well, not necessarily. So the way that basically all I did here is I downloaded ExpressVPN from the App Store. That's all I did. Then when I opened it up, I signed in with my username and password. So you do have to obviously sign up, and that's it. You don't have to set anything else up when it's on the iPad. The iPad is, and on the Mac too, it's pretty much all automatic. So I'm signed in with my account. I created an account on ExpressVPN. And now, basically, all I need to do if I want to use a VPN, let's say I wanted to say I was over in Canada, I'm over by Fran there, and now my computer is actually going through Canada. So even though I'm in Michigan, the first stop is over in Canada. So when I do my searches, they're not going to know where I am at, and also it's all protected kind of thing. You're in a tunnel, so anything that I send, no one's going to be able to. I could be at a coffee shop on their public Wi-Fi, and they're not going to be able to get at what I'm getting at, kind of thing. That's the beauty of a VPN. And when I'm done, all I have to do is just tap on connected here, and it's disconnected. Pretty simple to use. That's it.
You can connect and disconnect as you please.
Yeah, as you please, and I can go and switch to another one. So I want to watch a Rams game. This is actually why I got it. I want to watch a Rams game, so I have to pretend that I am in LA, although they're getting smarter. It's not that easy anymore. Now, as far as anyone is concerned, this IP address over here is in LA. So that, people think that I'm in LA. So the idea was I'd be able to watch an LA Rams game. I couldn't get it to work, but that's,
Yeah, a curious question. So does that mean that if you look at where your devices are, it'll say your iPad's in LA?
find out. So that's connected. Let's go over to my Mac here, and we are Find My. I don't know if I have Find My on this or not, so we're going to find out. Find My. Use your location. Yeah. No. Devices. iPad. That is my No, well, the Find My here doesn't use that IP for tracking. It uses the GPS. So, but yes, if I were to trace this, this iPad via IP, yes, it would think that I am in LA. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But
So in other
Kevin,
words,
yeah, go ahead.
it is its own network. Right?
It is its own. Yep, and essentially, I was just going to show you.
So it's not really using. That's where it gets confusing to me. Say you have a wireless network, your house, your you know, your work or some other, your school, you know, and you activate it, it's not using that network?
It's using that network, but it's more or less in a tunnel, you know, kind of thing. It's let's see what would be a good. It's using that network, but it's not using the network's traffic. It has its own. So it'd be let's see, how could you, like you have a highway and a railroad next to each other, right? When you are going from A to B, you know, you jump on the highway along with everybody else, you know, and you're just kind of like going. That's basically, well, with this, what it does is it hops on that, you know, it creates its own little railroad or whatever, and only you are on that train, on that track. That's it. No one else can be on that track with you or anything like that. But it's still using that same corridor, that same network. So I am still on my network here, which is going over to Comcast, which is going over to wherever. But nobody, I am encapsulated in this little tunnel that nobody can get at. It's impenetrable. It's end-to-end encrypted. So as far as anybody's concerned, they're not going to be able to see what I'm doing, where I'm going, or anything like that until after, you know, ExpressVPN at some point it's got to get out on the internet. But yeah,
So you connect, like if you're just at your house or wherever you're at, library,
Yeah.
school or whatever, and you're connected, but not to that. And then you go into your app, that's a VPN, and you click on that, and somehow it still stays on the network at school or wherever, but it's created another network.
Yep.
A sub-network.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can turn it on, and you can turn it off.
Yep.
It costs money though, right? It's not free.
Yeah, like ExpressVPN, I think is $99 a year. It's not too expensive. They used to slow down your network. I think that doesn't. I think that's not a big issue anymore. Most major companies. My wife works for Susan G. Komen, you know, breast cancer awareness. She works 100% remote, and she is required to be on a VPN, even on our network. And you know, so she could actually go to a coffee shop and work just as long as she's on their VPN. When I worked at Apple, you know, we would do trainings, and they would be off-site trainings, VPN. And they could get, it even goes as far as, you know, some of these companies, you can create a VPN directly into their offices and you can use their printers. It's like you're on their network, you know, kind of thing. That's going extreme, but that's, you know, yeah. So that's basically it.
I work for a health company and we're required to be on a VPN, but it's actually connected to a cable. I mean, actual physical cable to my computer.
Okay. Yeah. But that's, you know, that's basically how they work pretty easy. It used to be a little trickier in the past, but it's on the iPad, the iPhone, or even the Mac and Windows and all that. I could download ExpressVPN on my Mac, click on just like I do on the iPad, and it'll just automatically connect up. So here you can see the different options that I have. Threat Manager, I don't have that. Block trackers, malicious sites. And it's all within that tunnel. But basically,
Where are you seeing that?
well, this is ExpressVPN, so each one's going to be a little bit different. But
No, I don't see that on the screen.
do I not have the iPad? Oh, sorry, I had the Mac. Sorry. So options there. So here's my VPN, and I would just go under options.
And where did you get options? Where did you go?
Down at the very bottom here.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yep. And then I just go to threat.
Where did you choose to connect and find out where you were connecting to?
That is when you
had to tell them where you were at.
Yeah, right here. So I'll disconnect here. So I just click on this.
Yes.
So, you know,
And you have to choose. I mean, wouldn't you want to? Wouldn't you want to choose a United States one?
yeah. So they have So they have recommended. And what this is going to do is this is going to recommend someplace that is relatively close to you, makes it a little faster. That's all.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're saying, you know, Chicago. I'm 3 hours away from Chicago, so that's fine. But I could choose anywhere else. And what people do is, the reason why you may want to choose a different country is, like Fran doesn't have the same shows on Netflix as what we do here in the States. So if she got a VPN, she could say that she's in the United States, and all of a sudden she'd be able to see all of the Netflix, because as far as Netflix is concerned, Fran is in the United States, even though she's over in the Great White North. So,
Wow. That's frightening to me, though, in a sense of these people that are producing pornography. What, that would make that easy for them, wouldn't it, if you can't trace them?
yeah, no, because these companies here still have to be reputable, and they're, it's like any other company. I mean, yes, you're going to find porn on there, but you're not going to find anything that is, you have to go to the dark web for that really wacko, kind of thing. But all this is more, protects, like I think what Kevin's talking about. He just doesn't want anybody to sniff, his traffic, like you're at a public coffee shop. You just want to protect yourself. And Apple requires it. Susan G. Komen requires it. It's just a little bit more of a protection, security.
And so that's what you're supposed to use when you're in a public kind of.
That's what you're supposed to, yep.
Right, so in other words, if you went to a Starbucks,
Yep.
They have their own network in the Starbucks, but if you wanted to keep them, anybody who's around you from possibly
Yep.
or something,
Yeah,
you click on the VPN.
exactly. Yep,
And then when you leave the Starbucks, you just
turn it back off.
Right.
Yep, you got it.
They all have a fee associated with them, right?
Yes. Yeah, if you, I'm sure there's some free ones out there, but I'm one of those people that nothing comes for free. They're doing something to make money. If it's for free, there's something else is going on. So,
Setapp actually has a VPN in it.
the what does?
Once a year fee for Setapp, and they have a VPN included.
Do they? Okay, so yeah, if you're a member of Setapp, which is a great subscription kind of thing, you pay how much is that? It's relatively cheap, isn't it, George?
It's like $100 to $120. I think it did a price increase, but they added some in there. But also there's a discount for being, I think, through the Mac users group. I think there's a discount on there because I was able to get a discount.
Oh,
I have found that to be a very worthwhile subscription because one of the things they have in there is you can actually pull YouTube videos and it does it without the commercials.
ooh, that's nice. So what George is talking about, this is a service called Setapp, and basically for $9.99 a month, you have access to all of these apps, and there are a lot. Some of them are a little bit more on the nerdy side, but there's a lot of good apps in here, including, people have asked me about Clean My Mac. You can download Clean My Mac. It's part of that $9.99. I really love this Clean Shot. I don't know if you've used that, George, but for screenshots, it does just a really nice job of creating screenshots. So you get all this. Permute is great for converting videos. I love Permute. So I paid for all these separately because I'm not part of Setapp. But looking at this, I don't know why I'm not part of Setapp. There's just all kinds of. Text Sniper is another good one that is Yoink is kind of like a paste. So there's just all kinds of good apps in here, and you get all of these for that $9.99 a month. You download them.
I have to leave with Michael, but are you going to, and I don't want to dominate and make a decision with the group or whatever, but I really like this 5 to 6 East Coast time. Is that something you might be doing in the future, or is that this is like a one-shot deal? Because it works better for me, 5 to 6.
No, 5 to 6. I'm going to stick with that. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Because I think we're going to do the reason why I switched last year was we did a bowling thing, and I think we're going to do that again this year. Instead of switching it, consistency is good, so I'm just going to do the 5 o'clock. I'm going to stick with that.
Evening.
Thanks. We'll see you, Mike.
Yep.
All right, so that's Setapp, and a lot of good apps in there. So something that I personally should be looking at, but I don't know why. All right. Okay, so we covered this one. How do I back up photos in iCloud? That was from Tom. I think that is what I have. Let's see here. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. So that's all the questions that I have. Oh man.
Dan, did you see, I sent you a question via email separately because I didn't want to take up another participant place in your
Yeah.
early registration.
What was the
Because
question?
The question was, I sent you a screenshot I keep getting from Google that I'm out of storage, and if I want more storage, I have to pay $249 a month. And I'm like, but I thought Google, I've used my Gmail account for years and years, and it's always been free. Is that a scam, or is that?
No, they about a year ago. Nothing's free, and Google implemented. They give you a lot of storage, but yeah, if you're using Google their photos, they're starting to charge you for that.
Oh, so
Yep.
if I have my photo library, can I get rid of Google Photos? I don't
Yeah.
need it then.
Yeah.
That's probably taking up.
That's probably taking up all your space. Yep. Yeah. Sorry, I missed that. So yep. But
No,
yeah.
that's okay.
Yep.
Oh, and I did ask you a question about Chromebooks too for the twins because it's back to school again. So I
yeah.
wondered if you had any ideas.
No, I don't. I'm not a huge fan of Chromebooks, but I personally believe in the iPads would be a good thing. But that's
Yeah, and they have those, but at
Yeah.
school they just prefer Chromebooks.
do they?
because
Oh, because the school supplies it. Yeah.
yes, yeah, okay, that's fine, that's fair. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Just quick, since you brought up that CleanShot X for
Yeah.
screenshots, I do screenshots a lot. Could you just say 5 minutes, 2 minutes, or whatever? What's it about?
So well, that's first of all, it's a Mac. It's a Mac only app, so it's not going to help you.
Oh, okay.
So.
That's enough said.
And I think the iPad does a pretty good job of screenshots anyway. That because it goes right into the what it has. Just so you know, Kevin, I don't have it on my demo computer, but when you take a screenshot, it goes right into an annotation mode. Well, we have the same thing on the iPad. If I take a screenshot here, I can go right into annotation here, this little guy here, and I can start drawing on it, and supposedly. Let's see here, go blue. And that's basically allows you to really easily do that. On the Mac, the Mac's screenshot tool, default screenshot tool is not, you can do it, but it's not like a one shot like this. And then I just go like that. I can copy and delete, save it to a quick note. So it kind of has that kind of feature. So,
Thanks.
Yeah.
yeah.
I had a question about mail, and my favorites. I had sent messages in my favorites, and it somehow inadvertently disappeared. So I'm trying to restore that, and it seemed at one time at the bottom I could find it, how to restore it. But that's now gone away, and I'm wondering if you know how to do that.
So you want to make one of these mailboxes your favorite again? You lost it?
No, up at see at the very top there, you have favorites, and I have all sent. I had all sent.
Well, what you could do is you would find the mailbox sent here. I'll just remove it from my favorites, so it's no longer in my favorites here. So essentially, if you just control click on it, oops, wrong one. Control click on it, you're going to see add to favorites, and then it'll add it back up to the top there. And there it is. Now that's only the iCloud. I want to have all of my favorites, so let's see here, remove. Oh, I only have iCloud on here, so that's why. So add to favorites, and there it is. I believe I can tap on this plus here, and then I can also select from here. So remind me's, and now, so that you can move them in and out of that favorites by doing that. All right.
Dan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Go back to Setapp. What happens with an app that you might buy through the Setapp when it's a subscription? And is it just renewed through Setapp
Yep.
automatically?
Yep. So
Or
if you were
pay-
to, yeah, if I were to download clean, which is why I really haven't done it, because I bought these apps before I really played around with Setapp, and I just need to bite the bullet because there's far more here than what but basically, what if you cancel? So let's say I download Clean My Mac through the $9.99 a month. If I cancel Setapp, that app will no longer work. Once that subscription, it is tied to, yeah, these are all tied to Setapp in one way or another.
Okay. And it's just automatically renewed with your
Yep.
setup?
Yep, and they do have, it's not as many, and this is, they're really, it's kind of a neat idea with what they're trying to do. And on the Mac, it's relatively easy, but they actually have some iOS apps in here as well. Not as many, but you're going to see they do have some iOS. That was a little tricky for them because of how Apple works, there's another good one that I've played around, Structure. Darn it. I'm seeing all these different things here. Thanks, George.
Go back to all apps and scroll back on the Mac side.
On the Mac side? Okay, so we'll just go all apps.
Did you see it's all Mac apps? I think there's 240 apps, and when you look at that price,
Wow.
I just scratched the surface. 'Cause I use
Yeah.
the
And looking at this, I'll go with. I mean, I know a few of these, and image to icon. That's for developers. There's a lot of developer stuff in here. But
I don't.
Bartender is great if you have a lot of items in your menu bar at the top here. Bartender will clean that up. Your Clean Shot, your Clean My Mac. Permute is good. iStat Menus is good. Text Sniper is good. If you're a writer, Ulysses is great for writing. Just all kinds of different stuff in here.
Now, by the way, that screenshot app that you were talking about that you use that's on here, does it replace the Command Shift
Yeah.
3 and 4?
Yep.
So you can still use that. It instead of giving you Apple's version, it gives you theirs.
Correct.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah.
And I love Paste. I use this daily. This is a clipboard history manager. Here, let's see if I have it on here. That's Paste right there. So keeps history of all my clipboard. So
what
that.
used to be in here that they took out was iMazing.
Oh, did it used to be in here?
Yeah, it used to be in there, but they took it out. But I will tell you, I just keep finding more and more uses for iMazing because, like, I was just in there thinking about. I just changed my iPhone to only allow calls from people who are in my contacts because the spam calls have just gotten to be ridiculous.
Yeah, good idea.
And it's amazing how nobody wants to talk to voicemail anymore. But it made me also start looking at, okay, well, I would like to see my call logs. So I did a little Google search, and then there's all these things that you can buy. And I was like, I wonder if iMazing has it. iMazing actually does have the call history on your iPhone. You can pull it up.
What's iMazing also has, and I think Jerry put out from Betty's MBS mug or the Saginaw, one of those. You can run iMazing, and it'll check to see if it has that Russian spy, not Russian, sorry.
Spyware.
Yeah, spyware from Israel that was,
That cyber or Cimerus or whatever.
something. Yeah, it will detect it and see if it has it on your phone. It can't remove it, but at least you'll be able. And I think Jerry found that he had it on his, if I'm not mistaken. So, very interesting. So,
Well, Dave, what happens if you bought, like, say you already bought the app for Clean My Mac, and you paid for that, and then
you just re-download it and get it through Setapp and cancel your subscription. Or cancel your Clean My Mac subscription, and yep.
You'd be getting a different license number then, Ray?
Yeah, you'd be getting a different license.
Okay.
Yeah, and I need to look into this a little bit more. It is a great thing. I think the other problem that 240. There you go, George. 240 plus apps. The other thing that I had with it is I do use these on. I mean, I have a couple of different Macs. I use these on multiple computers. So generally, what I will do is I will buy apps through the App Store. And the reason why I do that, same thing with the iPad, same thing with the iPhone, because then I can install them on all of my devices. That's
Yeah.
the beauty.
They
And
did change their pricing structure to where you can't actually.
can you? Okay, good. See, that was another holdup for me.
Because mine changed because of that, because like you, I have multiple Macs.
Yeah. So they must have a higher price tier power user for 4. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. So
You have, and I think they still have annual pricing, because I do mine annually.
let's just see what happens when I go here. No. But anyway, it's a good. It is a very good, and they've been around for a long time, really. Nice. It's nice. So. All right, let's call that a wrap. It was nice to see everyone. Thank you for being patient. And next week I'll put something up for next week. Maybe I'll do something on what's new. I got to start doing the what's new in Mac OS.
17.
Yeah, Sonoma and 17. So I might start working on classes for those and start the alternate. AMA every other week and then a little class, and we'll go from there. So,
Okay.
thank you, and we'll see everyone at a later date. I'll have a recording up tomorrow for this.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dan,
Bye.